All right, let's dive in. Today we're exploring a concept that feels like a sudden sunrise in the middle of a long night, the Epiphany. It's an incredible story about following a star, taking a huge journey, and uncovering a truth that changes, well, everything.
Rise and shine, for your light has come. I mean, wow, that line from the prophet Isaiah really gets to the heart of the Epiphany. It's all about that moment a powerful, transformative light just cuts through all the darkness. And that is exactly what this story is all about.
Okay, so what is this light exactly? And what's it supposed to be revealing? Let's kick things off by digging into the basic idea of the Epiphany and what it really signifies.
So the word epiphany itself is really interesting. It comes straight from a Greek word that means a manifestation or an appearing. So think about it less like a simple discovery and more like that huge aha moment, when a massive truth is suddenly laid bare and you just can't see the world the same way again. Now, at the very center of this story, we've got the Magi, these kind of mysterious figures from the East. And here's what's so critical to understand. They were Gentiles. Total outsiders to the covenant of Israel. Honestly, they were the last people anyone would have expected to show up. But they were the ones who saw this strange new star in the sky and just knew they had to follow it. So their journey leads them to a huge revelation, to a mystery that had been kept hidden for ages. This story is so much more than just a long road trip. It's really about a fundamental shift in who this divine message was actually for. And this, right here, is the revolutionary truth at the heart of it all. As the Apostle Paul explains, Gentiles are now co-heirs with Israel. You have to understand, at the time, this was an absolutely radical idea. It meant the star wasn't just for one chosen people, it was a universal invitation. It was shattering old divisions and welcoming everyone, into the very same promise. Okay, and the gifts the Magi brought? They weren't random. Not at all. They were packed with symbolism. They offered gold, because that's a gift for a king, acknowledging his royalty. They brought frankincense, which was an incense used in worship, a gift for a divine being. And then there was myrrh, a spice used in burial, a heavy, prophetic gift that foreshadowed future suffering and sacrifice. So in just 3 gifts, they told the whole story: kingship, divinity, and death. So the arrival of this new king, this new light, it forces a choice. And the story gives us this powerful, stark contrast between 2 very different reactions, embodied by 2 very different kings. And you can see the 2 paths laid out so clearly here. On one side, you've got the Magi, the wise ones. They follow the light, they come to worship, and they offer these incredibly humble gifts. But on the other side, you have the guy already in charge, King Herod. He doesn't see a promise. He sees a threat to his power. So he clings to his throne, his heart is filled with rage, and his response is just brutal, terrifying violence.
And this brings us to a really important question, right? Is this just some ancient story, or can we still find that guiding star today? The sources we're looking at here argue that yes, absolutely we can, but we have to know where and how to look for it.
I mean, let's be real. Our world still has its Herods. We see leaders who cling to power through fear and manipulation. We see economies that exploit the vulnerable. And we're surrounded by a culture that's constantly throwing false stars at us to chase. The endless pursuit of wealth or fame or power. The challenge for us is the same one the Magi faced. How do you tell the one true light from all the other dazzling distractions? So, where does that authentic star still shine? Well, the wisdom of this tradition points us toward 3 key places. First, in sacred texts and scripture, which can offer us guidance. Second, in shared rituals and traditions that connect us to something way bigger than ourselves, and maybe most powerfully, in our encounters with the poor and the marginalized, where true divinity is so often found in the most unexpected places.
So finally, what do you do once you've found this light? The story doesn't just end at the manger scene. In fact, the most important part might just be what happens next.
This little detail is so incredibly important. The story says the Magi, warned in a dream, disobeyed Herod and returned home by another way. Now, this isn't just about taking a different route on a map. It's a symbol of their profound internal transformation. Encountering this light changed them so deeply that they just couldn't go back the way they came. They left as different people, walking a new, more courageous path.
So what does walking this new path actually look like for us? Well, it means taking concrete action. It means visiting the lonely. It means sharing what we have with the poor.
And it means finding the courage to speak truth in a world that's filled with so much confusion. This is how the spirit of the Epiphany stops being just an old story and becomes a living, breathing reality.
And that really leaves us with this final thought to chew on. The Magi's encounter with that light changed their entire direction. So as we think about this powerful story, the question for each of us is this: what new path is your star revealing to you?